love music and love life. You're listening to the station that loves music, loves you. And of course, we are very concerned about your growth, about your productivity. We like it when your pocket is fat and filled. And we like it when your mind is well watered and you have the right mindset so that ultimately you're not just making the money, you know where to put it. And also, we like to take your chronicles at the workplace. We talk about your career, we talk about everything that translates to a well rounded you. So Tuesdays is the time for that, and that runs for let's just say 45 minutes thereabouts. But the official time is 11 till 11:50, right here on Smooth 98.1. And it's always a pleasure to be in your ears every time. My name is Oluwaseun. So if you're following us across all social media platforms, you would have seen the flyer ahead of time announcing that today we're going to be having a very enlightening conversation on business partnership. And this one is not coming from the book angle. This is coming from the practical angle because I have two gentlemen who have been in this for so long. And I dare say that they started from brothers, still brothers, and then they decided to have a business together, which is one really big business that is changing the face of real estate in Lagos and beyond. I believe their business is available or is operating in three continents, if I do not get my facts wrong, and that is impressive. So, how they have been able to build this without anyone breaking anybody's head, we're going to talk about it this morning. And you know how they say that you do not mix family with business, but they have been able to handle it pretty well and are going strong. So that's what we're doing this morning on Office Journal on Smooth 98.1. So let's get started. It's actually quite hard to introduce them because if I should attempt to give you an abridged profile of what they have done, I think it will take us 10 minutes at least, but I'll just tell you that both of them are co-founders of Dukiya Investment. And Dukiya Investment is a real estate construction and development company operating in Lagos, like I mentioned, providing brokerage services on three continents. So one of them is an alumnus of the University of Ilorin, and each time we get into this conversation, they start the whole better by far university, which I never will accept, where he studied history and international studies for his Bachelor of Arts degree, but he has proceeded to many institutions, gotten so much education and many certificates, and that includes Ajay Crowther University for a Master's in Business Administration. He's gone to Lagos Business Owner for Owners Managers Program, Executive Program at the Rome Business School, as well as the London Business School. And that is none other but than Lukman Shobowal. Hi, good morning.
Good morning, Sean. Thank you so much for having me.
And his brother and partner, also an offshoot of Kwara State, Ilorin. He is an alumnus of Kwara State University, Ilorin. And just like him, he's gone to so many schools as well. That includes the Lagos Business School at Jai Crowther University. He also went to the Rome Business School in Italy, where he completed an international business program and still getting more certificates, more education. Please welcome a co-founder of Dukiya Investment, Bayo Lawal. Good morning.
Good morning, Oluwaseun. It's good to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you both here, and I cannot wait to get into the meat of this conversation. But I like gists. I like stories. So I want to start with the story. I think you both have been friends for over 15 years, if I'm correct. And both of you, I don't how did you both meet? Is it the Iloring factor, or you came to Lagos, or is it the church that united you, or it was your public speaking, or was it your wives that brought you together, or is what your business?
Interesting.
Let's talk.
All right. Good morning, Lagos. Good morning, Smooth FM. It's good to be here this morning. So it's a long story, but I'll try as much as possible to just summarize. So I was in a church around Iyanopada, to be precise. So I'd been in the church for a while. So I was a teenager in the church, and then one day I saw this young, man who just came into the church, a teenager also like myself, who was in the class, and he started answering questions like, many of us used to answer the questions, and I was like, wow, this is fascinating. Who is
Are
this
you sure
young
like
guy?
many of you used to answer? Or more than many of you?
Oh God.
So I was like, this is fascinating. So, one thing led to another. When you meet people of like mind, it's
Mm,
easy to, to flow together and to work together. And that was how myself and Lukman started talking. And, we started doing a lot of things together, started talking about our education, started talking about, life, business, started doing things together as, as far as going, sometimes we organize programs, in the church environment. Children will come around, we pray together, we fast together. And at the time, we started seeing parents trusting us with their children. So, for example, when it's time for, let's say, camp, and then people want to go to camp, the parents will come to us and ask if we are going. So if we are
mm,
going, they look convenient. It looks convenient enough for them and convincing for them to say, you know what, my children will go. But we say if we are not going, they are not dropping their children too. So it started building trust, and then one thing led to another. I went to Ilorin first at a point, for a program IGMB. Then, I invited Lukman. He came. That was how Ilorin came into the
picture.
whole picture. And then I went to Kwara State University. He went to University of Ilorin. So in a nutshell, meeting was, the church was like the convergence that brought us together. But one thing that, is so unique is the fact that we have, we are like minds. We
Mm.
think alike. We have the same drive. We want to be successful, and we want to do it right. So, when you see somebody almost like yourself, it's easy to work with the person.
But she, on the flip side of it, when Bayo met me, or when I met Bayo, it wasn't necessarily on a friendship level. I remember it was around the time I had just given my life to Christ, and that church was the first church I ever stepped my foot in my life. And I started, my love for God was growing significantly, and I started studying the Bible almost every day. At that time, I had become an encyclopedia of the Word of God, and this guy was there in the teenagers' church. I mean, controlling things. It was like the talk of the town, the fine boy. I mean, the Bible preach, the young preacher. And then I stepped in. I mean, Sunday school took over the room. I mean, took over the prayer session, took over the word session, and it was like, who is this boy? So he was envious, that kind of thing. Like, who is this one who just came from nowhere and now is like the talk of the town? So then, there's something they say that if you cannot beat them, you join them. He saw that, well, if I cannot beat this boy, let me just be his friend. So that was how Bayo then came to me that, bro, I think we should just, let's do things together. I think you have some things that I can pick from, and from there I started, the friendship, and we thank God for how far God has brought us. And then we went to, he went to do a program in Kwara. They call it IGMB. Then he also invited me. I did the program, so we're within the same state for our undergraduate programs, and then we connected, beyond that level. And instead of just being church members, then we became brothers. And now I share the same mom with him. It's such an amazing experience. I mean, I'm so proud of him, and it's somebody that I'm always very excited to be associated with. So I don't know knowing you, sir.
Oh wow. It's how both of you just, are comfortable getting each under each other's skin and just pulling each other's leg. It's always fun. But after the breather, I'd like to get started with why real estate, why both of you decided to go into real estate, and who started it and who called the other one to come on board, or both of you had the vision together. I'm very curious about that and how you've been able to strike the balance. It's often said that money divides people, money brings out the worst, the monster in people. But at least so far, I think 3 years of being together at Dukiya and everything is calm. So I want to assume that a number of things, structures that you have put in place to ensure that this thing does not turn sour. So I would like to get into the practicality of the do's and don'ts of business partnership, even if it's someone that you're very familiar with, if it's your family member, or maybe it's even your enemy, the things you need to know so that you can have a successful business venture. We'll talk about that right after this.
My name is Michaela, and when it comes to great music,
That's
keep
three
it
questions
tuned
in one.
right here on
Oh,
Smooth
that
98.
okay. So I basically just prepped you ahead
Number
so that
one.
you know what
How
to expect.
the
I'm going
story?
to ask you one after the other.
Yeah.
How we entered real estate. Then she talked
How
about
you start?
Don't
structures.
worry,
Yes,
Then
just
and the
money.
a
do's and
chance.
Money.
don'ts.
That's three.
Yeah.
How we entered real estate.
You can just
Money. Our relationship with money, and then the do's and don'ts.
Sure, I'm going to ask you what are the other.
About a stone's throw away from the safari. How your tongue will visit a million destinations on one plate.
I'll check.
How your feet will
The
sway
commission that they
gently,
paid
your
me.
torso in a piano, and your mind.
Bro, it's more than 3 days. You can't be claiming that kind of money.
Crystal clear rivers flow in the day,
It's what we are here to talk about.
flows in the night.
I'll pay you. So that you use the money that I need to know where I'll pay you.
South
So,
South Africa
Hola.
every single day.
Everything
Good
good?
morning.
Good morning.
Yes.
South Africa with us. So come
Okay,
see,
so
touch,
I will tell you
taste,
once you are
feel
done,
South Africa.
so it will not repeat this next time.
Visit www.southafrica.net.
Okay, we're back.
Hello, I'm Mr. Quest of CNN. This is Smooth 98.1. 98.1.
who was there?
The smoothest dial on international radio. You're listening to Smooth 98.1. Office Journal is the name of the show, and my name is Oluwaseun. In the studio with me this morning, I have the pleasure of having the company of the co-founders of Dukiya Investment. I have Lukman, Shobowal, and Bayo, Lawal. So we have gotten a glimpse into how their friendship, partnership, relationship, brotherhood started. Now let's get into the business that both of you have been running together. And my first question is, why did you go into real estate? Because you are, I dare say, relatively young. And real estate almost feels like a business that you go to in your later years after you have amassed such a wealth of experience or life has shown you shaggy and you're trying to tie your money. And well, why real estate?
Thank you so much, Sean. So, I'll say that, to be honest, um, it wasn't planned. If they had told me that I'll be doing real estate 10 years ago, I would probably have argued it out, especially because it was not anything close to what I studied in school and what I'd imagined myself doing. But immediately after I finished from the Better by Far University, like you mentioned, for my first degree, I went ahead for my compulsory NYSC program in Lagos. And, doing NYSC, there is this tussle to always look for a place to serve and get good pay, irrespective of what you study, especially because at the end of the day, not everyone who did international relations will serve at the embassy or maybe foreign affairs ministry or any of those stuffs. So I had an invitation from one of my somebody who was actually our teenagers teacher when we were in church, the same church we spoke about, Redeemed Church in Lagos. And he called me that, well, look, man, myself and my wife were on social media. We saw the great strides that you did while you were in school. Because also when I was in university, I happened to be the student union president of my school. So I've done a lot of activism. There was a lot of programs. My page was quite, functional. There was a lot going on around what I was doing for students. So, and that time I remember that I was awarded a peace ambassador by the Kwara State governor then. So I think that was the picture they saw with the state government. And they were like, well, now you're serving, I think you should come and serve with us. But unfortunately, while I was in camp, I was also the SDG president for Lagos, that's Sustainable Development Goals. And I was serving with Otto Orandam, that was the founder of Slum to School. So, but then that time, I mean, I was passionate about supporting young people, out of school children, but I also wanted something that reflects my reality. I wanted a place where I could earn more. So when I got the opportunity for my boss that time, it was just about the fact that they were willing to pay higher. So I was like, well, let me try what they are talking about. So I told them at my former place of work that I might want to do this as a volunteering work while I go and serve properly at this real estate company. So when I got there, I'd also written a book around that time. So I shared a copy of my book with uh, my boss. It was then called Mr. Dikbo Agida, one incredible man that has mentored us as far as this real estate company journey is concerned. So it took me in, and I remember he telling me that, well, if you want to serve here, there are two options. It's either we pay you 50,000, and when you sell, there's no commission, or we pay you 200,000 when you sell, no commission, or we pay you 50,000 when you sell, there will be commission. So I said, well, pay me the 50,000.
Interesting.
When I sell, give me my commission, because I believe I'm going to sell. And first month, second month, third month, it was very tough. I would take my suit, my one and only suit, from a place in Barua Ipaja. As at that time, I left my grandparents' place to Bayo's house, because I made a commitment that the moment I'm done with school, I'm not going to be under my guardian's, roof again. I wanted to fend for myself, so I moved to Bayo's house, so I was going from that place in Barua to Lekki every single day. Wake up by 4 a.m., get to Lekki by 7, leave by 6, get home by 11. You have to sleep for 3 to 4 hours, repeat the cycle again every day. And so I was doing that for 3 months, and no sale was coming. And on the third month, I finally made my first sale to somebody that I met in NYSC camp, one of my friends who linked me with the boss, and we closed a transaction of 70 million. And on that singular transaction, I made a commission of about 7 million, got my first official car, and the company sent me out of the country. So I was like, wow, this is working. And so in a couple of weeks, I did another set of transaction, and I had done about 250 million Y7 within the space of about 6 months, right? And that was like the best figure within that space. So at that time, Bayo, don't forget that I now stay with Bayo. Bayo was also serving in, I think, Ogun State, and then he was also taking some extra job as a tutor in Barua. So he teaches all these secondary school centers. I think people planning for JAMB or whatnot. But I mean, what they were paying him was, was really just to live by. It was really small, and I told him, well, I didn't really tell him. I think he saw it and he was inspired. This boy, I knew when you started this job, and look how much you are earning now. But then my boss also then now reached out to Bayo that if you'll be interested in taking up a real estate opportunity, and I think that's how Bayo also then came to the real estate company, and so we began to work together. I was working as a salesperson. Bayo was working as the executive assistant to the owner of the company. I was at a point about the assistant head of sales. And together we developed our passion in the real estate space. But trust me, for me, I wanted something bigger, something better, and that was how I stumbled into real estate. And getting there, I found my feet in it, and I discovered that, well, maybe one of my best skills is my ability to convince people to actually invest or buy. Let me say persuasion. So I found my paths, accidentally in that industry, and that's why I'm still doing it. And I think that's how we connected with Bayo on the job. And after a while, there was a time I was the best salesperson. Not in millions now, in billions of naira, billions. Even my team, I built teams that have delivered billions on projects. There was a year that Bayo was also the best-selling person. Even though he was working as executive assistant. When they say when iron stay a long time in fire, it becomes fire. So I'm not surprised.
Oh my.
And so eventually, after working with our company for about 3 years, I said it was time for me to start something of my own. And then, I spoke with Bayo that, well, I think I want to move on to something bigger this time. I would like to, I've learned a lot. I want to start something like a brokerage firm. Then maybe we'll develop it into a proper real estate company. If you don't mind, I think that we should do it together. And Bayo was like, well, why not? And that's how we started Dukiya Investment.
Wow, that's story. So Bayo, do you have your own variation of that story?
No. Let's just go. Let's go ahead and and talk more about I'm sure people want to know more about the partnership.
Yeah, that's where we're
How
going
does it
to.
work? How do you guys do? So let's go into that. The story, you can always tell story another day.
Yeah, so that's where we are at in terms of how both of you've been friends and you now knew that you had to do business together. So what did you guys do? What did you put in place? Did you have to draw a document? We understand what business partnership entails in the literal definition, how two or more people come together. But for both of you practically, how did you set it up? What were some of the boundaries? or structures that you put in place?
All right. So thank you. So I would say that in partnership, everybody can collaborate. We all in the world can collaborate, but not everybody can be in partnership. It is very essential for everyone out there to know this. You can collaborate with everybody, but you can't partner with everybody. So that we are friends does not mean that you are friends with somebody, doesn't mean that you have a good partnership with them. And sometimes it's better to be friends with people that are going into business partnership with them, because sometimes business partnership reveals, a lot. So for myself and Lukman, I think some of the things that are helping us, sometimes these things cannot really be explained because they look abstract. Sometimes you can't really lay, hold to them, but they deal more with human character, and then reactions, response to issues, and then how you treat each other. So I would say for us, we have a business partnership agreement. So there is a document that actually explains the business partnership, explains the number of shares that each person owes in the business, explains the modus operandi of the business, explains, okay, when a transaction comes into the business, who signs, all of those. He explains it to the little details. But that is just a document. So I wouldn't want to focus more on the document, because a lot of people have documents, but what they do outside the document is the real thing, because it's a day-to-day activity. A lot every day, from business transaction. We want to make a decision. Lukman is saying this is the way we should go. Bayo is saying no, I don't think we should go this way. So at that point, you already have two fronts. So which one do we think? And if we are taking this particular person's decision or opinion, how does this person feel? And how do we bring the person back and make sure that we all are still working as a united front? So one of the of myself and Lukman is the fact that our belief is that whichever decision we are making, we stand by it. So if we have something we're doing and Lukman is like, let's go this way, I'm not going to say Lukman is saying let's go this way. If Lukman's opinion is the superior opinion or superior decision, it works better for the organization, for the good of the organization, I will let go of my personal opinion and follow what is best for the organization. So we must always take decisions based on what is best for the organization, because at that point you are looking for the development of the organization. Another thing about business partnership is that a lot of people talk about money, how money comes in play. Before you start making money, talk about the pros and cons. What do we do when we make money? How do we share the money? What goes to this? What goes to that? When you already make the decision before the money start coming in, you won't have a lot of problem. The problem a lot of people
trying to make this when the money is already in.
Yes, the problem a lot of people have is that they don't talk about those things. When the money start coming in, then the discussion comes on, and then there is a lot of problem, because they never had any agreement or any kind of arrangement as to how these things are done. For us, we have a lot of structure as to how things are done. Okay, when this person make, for example, we are in real estate, so let me share this online so that people can understand. So we are in real estate, we are into brokerage, we build, we develop, and all. So for every transaction Lukman is doing, when that transaction is successful and it gets paid, I get a 20% of that transaction profit for every I'm not involved.
Like one of my commission, you want to get paid or not?
I'm not involved. I don't even know anything about it. I just, I earn, and sometimes I don't even know. I just know that sometimes I get an alert and I'm asking, what's this money for? I was like, there was a transaction I did, and I saw the paperwork, and that's all.
Let me interrupt you. My apologies. So, on what ground? What's the basis for that one? Just to be crystal clear.
Okay.
So, Bayo, let me first say some things to share. So, this partnership, when we started, the first thing you need to know is that our own partnership, there's no boss. It's 50-50, like 50-50, and that has solved a lot of problems. The challenge we have sometimes is that when people have partnership and they say somebody's taking 70, somebody's taking 30, and they don't define it well, the person that takes 70 begins to feel at some point that he's the boss. So in this our own partnership, there might be individual differences. Maybe sometimes we are outside. Maybe my buyer is actually stronger in terms of personality, but you think I am, because I mean I tend to talk more, but he's strong. So it's 50-50. Number two is that there's a partnership document, like Bayo explained. So in that partnership document, if I do a transaction, Bayo gets a part of it. If Bayo does a transaction and is successful, I get a part of it. So for instance, Bayo is somewhere now in Cotonou and he closes a deal. I don't care how much they pay him. My 20% must drop in my account. And why did we do that? Is that sometimes because you see, there are times and seasons and destinies differ. It's possible that at some point your partner will do better than you, but you also have a cut of that cake. So that way you are not necessarily envious of that person. That's just the idea behind it. So there are several times that buyers in this season, buyers currently taking a lot of my money. But there were a lot of times that Bayo is the reigning king. Like he was making the sales, but my 20% comes to me. It's like tithes, and he must pay it, So that puts some level of checks and balances. I think one thing that we've also done is that we also define roles, who does what. In our organization. There are department that they report directly to Bayo. Some report directly to me, and you can imagine which department reports to me, especially sales, right? But the technical department, I'm not as technical. I can come here, share a lot of information, and guess what? That is the end. But you cannot bamboozle Bayo. If you give Bayo a document, Bayo knows all the details in that document, right? Another thing is that if you are coming to me for decision making, I will ask you, has Bayo given a verdict on this already? If the answer is yes, then why are you coming to me, right? Because sometimes you work in an environment where colleagues, if you are not very careful, people you work with, so-called team members, can actually bring you guys against each other. We don't do that in our own place. Once Bayo have given a verdict, that is the verdict. Even if I'm not comfortable with it, Bayo is not supposed to talk to my team members directly. That's also part of our modus operandi. But should Bayo talk to them and they come to me with a report, I'll first tell them, go with what Bayo has said. Then I'll go to Bayo in private, then I'll discuss with him, right? I don't like what you did there. You should have come to me directly rather than going to my team. Another thing that we've done is that, the aspect of money. There were some people who set up partnership. They model partnership after us. Some people who look up to us, not one, not two. And guess what? When they model the partnership, some of the things or the mistake they made was that some of them had ATM card for their businesses. And they were like, well, we saw Dukiya brothers now. We look at Lukman, it's like Lukman that used to spend the money. So because you have a sense that I'm spending money, you think it's company's money, because we don't spend completely. When we started our business for the first 6 months, we're not on salary at all. So we agree that every money that comes into the business must be invested back into the business. We're not on any salary. So we're doing other things to fend for ourselves while we allow business to run on its own. Another thing that I want you to take note is that
I need to interrupt you, please. Just hold that thought and we will be right back to this conversation. Now, if you're joining us for the first time, you're listening to Office Journal on Smooth 98.1, and I dare say it's a conversation you'd want to listen to again. So just stay with us.
A filmmaker, a critic, a writer, simply
We needed to go on an ad break. Very short, we'll be right back.
So this ad break, if we want to have a jingle that I want to play,
Yeah.
we introduce it, Abby.
Yeah. Okay, just
How many
let me
seconds?
know. It depends on whatever it is that you want.
Are you enjoying our commercial? Would like us to check in something?
What do you mean, chicken something?
Like the way it's going, are you okay with it?
Of course.
I'm asking for feedback. I'm asking for feedback.
Sorry. Of course.
The medium of exchange, the currency that flows through the veins of any viable economy, your money. Tune in to Smooth 98.1 for a definitive weekly analysis and check on your income.
Lesson number one, the rich don't work for money.
It's all about your finances made easy.
What a way to run your life.
Personal Finance on Smooth 98.1 every Wednesday from 5:15 p.m.
Yes, you heard that. Today is Tuesday, tomorrow is Wednesday. So it means that one more sleep and you have the chance to listen to Personal Finance by 5:15, where we talk all about your pockets and where your money should be put in, and so many things about your financial education, really. Right now, what we're talking about actually concerns your finance as well, because if you're going to get into a business partnership, if you get into the wrong one, it can be your undoing. So we do have two brothers, two friends, two partners that have done it and are doing it really well, and they're telling us how they have gone about it. And there are so many nuggets, So if you want to look at their faces and look at what they look like, you can go to our YouTube channel, which is at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Again, at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Now, if you have anything to say, maybe I can take a question or two later on, but the WhatsApp line is 0809 444 0981. Again, the WhatsApp line is 0809 444 0981. Just include your name and location. Like Wilson, who says, "Good morning to your guest. Quite a story of how they met and get along together. Wow, that's very interesting. And what a level of commitment and trust." All right, Lukman, before the breather, you were telling us about the things that you set in place and how, if I'm your partner now, I'll be getting 20%.
Exactly. Even in your sleep.
Right. That's so juicy. But go on, please.
And so, because we are discussing, business partnership, not the way it is in the textbook, this is not the thing that they will actually teach you in the forwards of even the business school. I think one thing that we also did was, I think before we married, a lot of people were saying, once we married, the business partnership will scatter, this and that. But for us, we decided that way we are partners. We told ourselves from the beginning, don't tell them that we don't necessarily want our wives to be friends, right? Even though now they are friends, but we don't discuss our business with them.
Interesting.
Yeah, we don't. Because sometimes, because, there is, imagine
I get what you mean.
because you want to be careful not to, because if you can forgive your friend, but can your wife, if I told my wife this is what Bayo did, and it's off my mind, myself and Bayo, we are now back to, my wife will still, he can come to my house and my wife will not serve him. But that is never the case, to be honest. So my wife has good relationship with Bayo. His wife has very solid relationship with me, because we don't discuss business matters with them. It's not like maybe somebody buys a car and they're like, your partner just bought a car. Are you sure you guys are collecting the same money? That kind of a thing. And I said something about 50-50. So it means that it's equal rights and equal responsibility. So whatever Bayo gets, I get. That's why it's difficult sometimes to spend money on ourselves. People don't know. Because the moment, if you say, for instance, if the business want to buy a car for Bayo, he has to buy a car for Lukman. If you don't have money for two, you can't buy it. It's like a twin. It's very difficult.
That is quite interesting.
It is. And so with that, you can be sure that, so if you're having, I remember there was a time that myself and Bayo, we were in a very, one heated conversation. I think it was, it was one of the most trying time of this partnership. We were talking to ourselves on the phone. This guy is really tough. And then we're supposed to have a meeting with one former senator at Silos Loud, I think in Lekki. And, we drove there. He parked his car. I parked him. We were angry. And we got to the meeting and we started smiling at each other as if nothing happened. So after the meeting, we were to discuss what had happened. And we said, well, guys, you know what? Let's imagine that event never happened. Then one last thing is that every year, I think 31st, every 31st of every year, myself and Bayo, we go to a camp in Nigeria, a prayer camp. We will lodge ourselves, and then we will bring out our jotters and talk about everything you've done in the year that offended Lukman. Okay, everything you've done in the year and how you could have done it better. And that period, and you must not defend yourself when you need to have, this is not a time to say I'm right. It is like a moment of accountability. We talk about every issue till the time that maybe the day I came to radio show and Bayo said my shoe was not nice. Any petty thing that you can remember, you talk about it. And that's our way of settling scores. Ensuring that we don't enter the new year with that negative energy, and then we pray together and we enter into the new year. So those are some of the things that we've imbibed as partners that have solidified our partnership. I don't know, I don't care, but I don't think that, except for my wife, there's anybody as close to me as Bayo. There's nothing I can. If you are telling me something, just know that I'm telling Bayo. If he has to do with the business. So it's not just about partnership. We are also friends and we are brothers. So there's no way one money will come into our midst, because I don't want to discuss is it about this money, about the future of the business that we are trying to build. So for me, that has been the level of unstructured structure that we have created that has allowed things to hold. Yeah.
That is very impressive and I dare say rare. So now let's come to the everyday scenario. Let's say that people don't have the kind of bonds that you have. If you were to give recommendations to someone on how they can choose a partner, let's say somebody starts a company and calls another person and they realize at this point, I might not be able to carry the load of this company alone. I need a co-founder. I need a partner. What would you recommend to be some of the things that they should look out for? Because if I were to draw inferences from what you have said, I'll say same values and so on. So what are some of the things that you should look out for if you want to choose a business partner?
All right, so I'll say if you want to choose a business partner, don't look for yourself. Yes, don't look for
Interesting.
yourself. So a lot of people are always looking for themselves. They want somebody like them. Don't look for yourself. You already have area of strength. Look for somebody whose area of strength is your weakness, because that's why you need a partner in the first instance. So when you get somebody like that, but one thing you must look for in that person is values. Your values have to align. They are not negotiable. You have to make sure that the values, is it trustworthy? Is it okay? Does it allow us talk about, for example, we talk about things on the once it happens now we are talking about, we don't want it, going into the next day, or we are waiting for the next meeting. No, if Lukman is doing something I don't agree with, I quickly call him, because I don't want that to affect. So you need people with the same value. However, you don't need yourself. You need somebody who has different skill that can enable the business. For example, he focuses on sales, product development. I focus more on structure, organization, operations, and then we work para, is what he's doing his own, I'm doing my own. Together we are building the business. Because if I'm also focusing on sales and then I'm also focusing on product development, and then who is going to be focusing on operations, accounts, and all of those other stuff in the business? So don't look for yourself. Look for somebody who has different skills in your area of weakness and can help you up, and then you guys can work together. Another thing you must look for in business partnership is that, sometimes, like Lukman rightly mentioned, you don't necessarily want to appear like the boss. So that you got the idea first, like let's say you were the one with the idea, there will always be somebody anyways who will always have the first idea, who always say let's go into the business. So you must always take off that shield of trying to say I started the business, because when people are coming into partnership, they want to have so much, some level of, ownership. They want to be in the space and be in their own skin and be comfortable. So you want to try as much as possible to make sure that whoever you are bringing on board, you bring them on board like your brother. Because business, not business first now, you have to treat yourself first before the business. We have a mantra: we look out for the directors first before the business, because if the directors are fine, the business will be fine. So for example, if Lukman is going through something, we have to make sure that we leave the business first and fix Lukman, and then we continue the business. So wherever you're going to partnership,
going through a lot right now.
wherever you are going into partnership with, you must make sure that you look out for the person, because it's important, because you need the stability of the person for the business to run effectively. Another thing is conflict resolution. So I'll talk a little bit about how we resolve conflict. So when we are resolving conflict, we want to try as much as possible to talk about the issue and not the person. So we try, because this is the mistake a lot of people make. People don't separate issues from personality. So when something happens, you don't focus on the person, you focus on the issue. What happened? Don't tell me, that was how you did last 2 weeks, that was how you did some days back, this is who you are, that's how you behave. Don't call names. Just, okay, you did this, I don't like what you did, and I expect that next time when you are doing this, let's correct ourselves, let's not do it this way, and make sure that the person is, you can't make me feel bad at the same time want to correct me. You will only achieve one. So you have to try as much as possible to make sure that your conflict resolution is very uptight, is in such a way that is not damaging people's ego, is not damaging their confidence, is not damaging their trust. Because in a bid to say you want to correct people, you want to resolve conflict, a lot of people have lost, their businesses. And like I said, it is my partner first before the business. I must make sure that my partner is fine, then I look out for the business.
Then she wants to say something. So the mistake that many people make is that, choosing a partner is like choosing a wife. Yes. So you want to be careful. Who chooses a wife anyhow? I remember, you want to look at what family she's from after you become friends for a while. You want to try her with money. You want to test her with many things. You want to be sure that this is somebody you can spend the rest of your life with. Unfortunately, people don't treat partnership like that. They just meet one guy who has funds. It's good for somebody to have the capital, but that he has the capital is not a yardstick to say you can do business together, or that his father is connected, he has connection, because those are the issues that people begin to have, or that the guy is outspoken. These are not enough reasons. So you need to look at the details of their personality. I noticed recently that many people who set up partnership, right, break loose because of money. Like this money thing, I don't know how to explain it, but there was one that somebody was sharing with us that 300 million hits the account, just 300 million, and the guy said, well, this time you have to first send 100 to me. Whoa, but this money is for a project. Said, no, we've never seen this kind of money before, so you have to first give me my share before. So if you cannot test, and there are some partners that, well, 50 million will not cause fight until maybe $1 billion comes in. So you need to understand from the beginning their relationship with money. Like, you see this money relationship, there was a partnership, one that we know of, 2 partners, and one they had the ATM. How do you have an ATM card for a business? So one director goes to the club or goes outside and he drops the card, and the other director says, well, I just saw a debit of so million. Well, I'm also good. How are you running a partnership that you are directly in charge of your account that way? You can literally transfer from your phone. That's lack of structure, So you need to be sure that this person, is their relationship with money toxic or is it good? So it's very important. Then after you've solved the relationship with money part, then you now want to look at what is the accountability level. If there's to be a crisis, a fallout, who can you talk to? Yes, who can you talk to? Because to be honest, if something happens now, if Bayo misbehaves in a level that I cannot manage, he has not behaved in that level anyways. But I am predicting that before the partnership is 10, it's possible that there will be some form of behavior that I may not be able to, because people change. Guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to call somebody. 2 people. There are 2 people, I will not mention them here, that I can call, that I know that if one cannot put him to order, the other one is sure for me, the other one can put him to order. So those are they accountable to anybody as a matter of fact? So those are the issues, because some people don't have anybody that they are directly accountable to. And if you cannot pin them, right, you might not necessarily be able to work with them, because before you know it, they will go, they will become something else, and it might not be something that you can be able to manage. So I think that partners must put all of these things into place to be sure that this person that I want to work, it's just like you want to marry somebody. For young people, you're also looking at it that this person that I want to marry, can somebody talk to them? Is it the kind of person that you have association of friends, and all those friends, they are strong influences over them. You see people now, they are living relationship because their friend's husband bought them a car. You don't understand? So because you have failed to realize that this friend is a pillar. Go and check relationship that do very well. You see that either they have few friends or the friends are reasonable. So you have to be sure that who is the person that is like wield a level of influence over them. Because even if you have a partner and somebody is telling them that your partner, you see, he just bought a car, and guess what? Your values, your interests may not align. There is something that I like and Bayo does not like it. And guess what? If money comes to my hand, I spend more money on that stuff. But if Bayo is not careful, if he's not the kind of person that people can say, hey, are you sure it's the same organization you are running? See your friend. See, he's just traveling. The guy is just buying cars. Why are you not doing the same? Also, ask, what's your partner's plan? Some people, once they have visa, you are doing the business together. You think they love the business. Once America gives them visa and they enter US, they won't come back, bro. It's like breakup. It's the same way you are dating somebody and the person gets to say, guy, I can't continue. I'm sorry.
Actually, there was one business like that we were aware of. The guy, relocated and then just called the partner, and they were in the middle of some debt and left the guy alone.
Sorry, I won't come back. Actually, Canada is sweet. I don't know that this is how. If visa can, but this man has traveled, at least he has traveled to all the major countries and he's been back.
Well, that is good to know. Oh my days. I will be right back after this, because there's so much that we need to talk about. Unfortunately, time is not on our side. But you're listening to Office Journal on Smooth 98.1.
Switch. Yo, this is Jimmy Cook.
Oh my days. Well, congratulations that he came back.
Have you-
Both of you have been coming back. Oh, that is so lovely.
Do we have any question
How you'll come across 1,000
Oh
times.
yeah, I didn't specify the question, but we have comments.
How you can wake up
It's
with
more
one
like
foot firmly
learning.
in the Indian Ocean,
portrait?
the other in the Atlantic.
Okay, we've got questions. Damn it.
About a stone's throw
Maybe this
away
person is just joining because I feel like you've
how
answered these
your time
questions.
will visit a million
Did he go to
destinations
lawyer too?
on one plate.
How
How
you
your
Yeah, you need a lawyer. You can't draft out documents yourself.
It's because she said we should not talk about what's in the book. They are the book aspect.
We can talk about it, just that we don't have time.
How many minutes we have?
We have, let me just say, I can stretch it to 8 minutes.
We know this because this is how we South Africa every single day. And this is
Ha!
why we invite you.
What do they think about going into a business partnership with my wife?
Taste it.
Considering fear of a future issue that could lead to divorce and the likes. Okay, now.
That one, I'm not in a business partnership with my wife, so I don't know anything about it.
Honestly, that question is very dicey.
Start thinking of a response. So.
You should ask people who are in business partnership with their wife.
Yeah,
I'm
well,
not sure how people do it, really.
I can't say it's bad.
But
only
some
up-
people,
uh,
Will be following
there are some people now.
every single jump.
Actually, some people, they are not in business partnership with their wife. They own the business and their wife works in the business. Or many people think their wife is a partner in the business.
The wife also matters. That's the problem. Have you not seen why they'll go to the office and be telling staff? They'll be firing staff anyhow. You have to be sure that you know what I'm saying. It's not about the wife thing. It's about the person.
I know it.
Will
I will just open let her run it. I'm not
The
interested.
Locker Room on the Smooth Breakfast, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 8:15.
we will be following you.
Hi, my name is Richard Fernandez. I love the Smooth 98.1 because they play my kind of music. Love music, love life. Smooth 98.1.
The very best. You're listening to Smooth 98.1, where we love music, we love life, and we love a developed you, a productive you. That's why we're having these conversations. We don't want it to fall into those pitfalls. That's why we're educating you, and we have just the perfect people. That's why, again, we have the company of the co-founders of Dukiya Investment. That is Bayo, Lawal, and Lukman Shobowal. And I dare say it's been a baptism of knowledge since we started this conversation at 11 o'clock. So in case you're just joining, you have missed out on so much. But guess what? There is a replay for you on YouTube. That is youtube.com/smooth91 FM Lagos. I'll quickly take some messages, and if you want to get yours in, you'd have to be really fast with it. WhatsApp line is 0809 444 0981. Again, the WhatsApp line 0809 444 0981. Chimezie from Ijegun says, "Good morning, Sheung, and to the guests in the house. I'm so glad to hear your stories of friendship and partnership. I have a friend with the same name, Bayo. We were super close and had great times together back in the day. We were like minds. Fortunately and unfortunately, we got separated due to our work, and that was it. Long-lasting friendships and partnership is priceless. I believe it is more of an organic thing than mechanical. I'm learning a lot from your teachings this morning. Well done, guys. Thank you."
Thank you.
I have Joshua from Ayobo who says, "I'm so glad I listened to this conversation today. Many thanks to your speakers. My questions: 1. During the early days of their business, did they go to a lawyer to draft out the agreement to this partnership and the sharing formula? 2. What do they think about going into a business partnership with my wife, considering the fear of a future issue that could lead to divorce and the likes? Also, I really think I want to learn more from them on this partnership. How can we meet and learn from them on this team?" Don't worry, we'll tell you how you can find them on socials later on. Are you going to keep that question?
Yes, we'll keep the question.
Okay, so I'll just take this one from Oluwaseun, who says, "I joined late, but the little I heard about partnership is inspiring." So are we answering any of the question?
Yes, so at the beginning of the business, we went to a lawyer. So a lawyer has been involved from day one. We are brothers, but we also have to do things the right way. we didn't really mention that because we didn't want to talk from the black and white aspect of the business. You need a lawyer if you're going into a partnership. You can't draft the business partnership yourself. And we didn't use a lawyer from Lukman. We didn't use a lawyer from Bayo. So we used, an independent lawyer, drafted the business agreement. Then the lawyer from Lukman reviewed, then the lawyer from Bayo reviewed to be sure that your client interest is represented. And then when they okayed it, we went ahead and then executed the business partnership agreement.
That's lovely. So it's answering the question of going into a business partnership with your wife.
Well, let me attempt it. Well, I'm not in any business partnership with my wife. The few ones I've tried to do with my wife did not really end well. Because they have a way of allowing emotions to just say, oh yeah, take it, don't worry. But I don't want to say that it's not bad if it works for you. I don't think it's about the relationship with the fact that she's your wife or not. There are a lot of family businesses that are doing well, that have even been passed down from generation to generation. Some of the biggest businesses in the world are actually family-run businesses. But you want to ask yourself, are you doing the business with her because she's your wife, or because she's trained to handle, she has the capacity to handle roles on the business? So as long as you're not doing it because she's your wife, you are committing to doing it with her because you feel that she has something to bring to the business. She has expertise, she has skills, she has knowledge, she's able to run it more than somebody out there. She has something that she can add to the business that you cannot. It can be the best experience running business with somebody that you love and somebody that loves you. Because if somebody loves me and I'm running a business with them, like my wife, then it means that they are going to have my back. Like, they will support my staff because they know this is how I want them to be supported. They will take up assignment because they know this is how I want to take it up. They will deliver presentation because they know this is how. And the synergy, we can always work, not just in the office, but even in the bedroom. We can do it when we get home and say, okay, this is what we have to do. It's like we are working 2-4-7 days. Like now, when we close in the office, Bayo goes to his house. And sometimes I tell Bayo, please, can you come out? We need to have some conversation in the midnight. But now, if it's with my wife, it means that, we can extend the boardroom meetings. But to be fair with you, I've seen a lot of people who actually open businesses with their wife and it has not really ended well, right? It's like a two-edged sword, depends on how you use it. There are women who go to the office and begin to tell, they don't allow female staff to be close to the husband. So guess what? If you're in a marriage or a relationship, you know which one is your wife. You will know. So you can't tell me, if any small thing, she's already checking your phone, all those kind of stuff, that maybe I may not want to enter. But you just want to be sure that this is somebody that you can still be accountable to one another, even though you are the person is your wife. Not that they will come to and say, do you know I married you? Do you know I'm your wife? Can you talk to me like that? If my wife does bad and she's my business partner, I should be able to fire her or suspend her. If we can do that, then that works. If you cannot do that reasonably, then I think you might look for somebody else.
I guess this is the part where they say that do not hire who you cannot fire.
Exactly.
So we wish you all the best, Joshua, and all the best as you try to get into a partnership, if you're trying to get into a partnership with your wife or someone you really love. But gentlemen, thank you. It's been an inspiring conversation, very enlightening. Have you both considered writing a book on partnership?
When we are 10.
Okay.
Because Africans, they will buy it more. If it's 3 years, they are 3 years. When we are 10.
Okay. All right. So we'll have how many years to go then?
We are
6 years.
But we've been partners for, so we can start from where I think we are qualified to. But
we've done quite some number of businesses together before this.
Yeah, true. Actually, just like you guys are married.
A lot of people tell us that.
Okay, like we are married.
But it's blissful and very refreshing to hear. So to find you on social media, like I think he was asking, yes, Joshua was asking earlier, your social media handles.
My name, Lukman Shobowal.
How do you spell your Shobowal?
S-H-O.
Okay.
Lukman with a. Lukman Shobowal.
Okay. Lukman
Shobowal.
Lukman.
Yes.
Okay. All right then. And
Bayo Lawal.
Okay, so Bayo Lawal across all socials.
I Okay, so it's Babatunde Bayo Lawal. Yeah, the full name.
And big men don't know their social media handles. Their peers handle it. But it's been lovely. I hope we can have another conversation some other time if your busy schedule allows it.
We'll come back. Thank you so much. We
Thank
did
you.
have fun. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Impressive.
All right, so for anyone who's just tuning in, like I mentioned, you have missed out on quite a lot, but you can find the replay on YouTube, and that is our handle at Smooth 921 FM Lagos. Again, at Smooth 921 FM Lagos. Next week, we'll be back with another conversation right here on Office Journal. But on the other side, it will be African music on the Casbah, and I hope that you have a good time listening to your radio and keeping it locked to the dial that loves music and loves life. My name is Oluwaseun Olusegun.
One. Love music.
Thank you,
Love
Smooth.
life.
Thank you.
Thank
That
you.
was smooth.
Smooth ride.